Welcome, welcome. Hi, y'all. This is Dr. Samaria Colbert, and let me just introduce myself for those who are viewing this for the first time. My name is Dr. Samaria Colbert. I'm the founder of an organization called Kingdom Creative Counseling, where I'm currently located. I am a published author of. I just started book number 90. These are pre-recorded, so by the time you view this, I will definitely over 90 books. Welcome. I've been in the mental health field close to 20 years, and I love Jesus and I love purple. I was just looking at my calendar because these are pre-recorded. I'm actually pre-recording this on September, let's say September 20th, and it's not going to go out till December, y'all. So it looks like, if I'm looking at my calendar correct as I'm looking down, y'all, are getting ready to close. No, we're getting ready for Christmas. So yeah, hopefully y'all had a good Thanksgiving. I know I'm like, wait, oh, we're not even in Thanksgiving when I'm recording this. And I hope you have a really good, relaxing Christmas holiday. All right. Okay. Today we're going to talk about an interesting topic. And this is a topic, it may not necessarily be a mental health, but it's mental health related. And when I tell you this is one of the topics, and I was really inspired by this because this is one of the topics that people come to therapy for. Now, again, as I always say, this is not therapy. This is just me talking and give you some wisdom. But when I tell you, it's very simple. It's called the curse of being the responsible one. People go to therapy because when you are the one that's responsible, hunty, the level of weight of responsibility and stress and anxiety and things that people will put on us is just unbearable. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. And again, like I said, this is not therapy, but I would encourage you, my responsible people, sometimes remember this, people go to therapy to deal with people who refuse to go to therapy. And you can have entire families that are codependent. You can have entire friend groups that are codependent. People, you can be in a codependent relationship, but when you are the responsible one, and you've been trained and taught to be that, therapy just is gonna be a world of help to you. I have gone to therapy before in my past as a therapist and as someone who's in recovery from being the responsible one. And when I tell you, I would imagine, and I see other therapists too, but therapists, because we know so much about mental and emotional wounds and health and things of that nature, um, sometimes we can be so knowledgeable, we don't think that we need to go to therapy. But as someone who's in recovery, I will tell you that it is one of the change breakers of my life when I recognized that I had relationships with people that I was the responsible one for. So, Holy Spirit, we thank you for today. Open our ears. Let us hear from you and let us hear from the vein of love. Sometimes I do come hardcore and it's just because I love you. And I'm passionate. If you see me in real life, I am so quiet and demure. But when I talk about things I'm passionate about, emotional, mental health healing and mental health as ministry and all that, I'm like, I'm not bold, but I'm a little bit like, wow. So how did I come to this? Uh, do my own journey, of course. And of course, just give me a minute. I know I'm rambling, but give me a minute. I was in prayer and you hear me say, God said, or God, I have a very intimate relationship with God. I've always been very quiet. And the number one person I've talked to more than anyone in life is God. And so he tells me secrets. I know his voice. I know my father's voice. And God will speak to you. Maybe one day down the line, I'll do a teaching on how to hear the voice of God because it's very easy to spend time with him. I wrote a book like maybe 10, 15 years as well called Hearing the Voice of God. But anyway, um, so I asked God about things that I don't understand. And I was in a situation, I'm being very discreet, put it that way. And I was in a situation where I had people depending upon me. And it became too much. I was stressed out, I was overwhelmed, and I felt like I couldn't do anything wrong. And I remember just walking through my home and I said, God, why do they treat me this way? I said, God, I'm just as human as them. I said, I try my best to make good decisions. Since I was a little girl, I was a little spirit of wisdom. So I was always a little old soul. But, but I said, I didn't die on the cross for their sins. I can't fix everything. I'm not you, God. And I feel, and I said, and this is a true story. I said, God, I feel like they want me to be you. I don't understand it. I'm just as human as the next person. And I never forget, I heard my father's voice. And he said, Samaria, because you've always been the responsible one. And I've learned this: when people don't know what to do, they will continue and repeatedly rely on the person that they think does know what to do. You could be like, sis, bro, like pray on it, like because they look at you like, oh, you got a car, you're safe, you're stable, and it's not that. The grace of God, you live your life, you make mistakes, go ups and downs, but when you're responsible and you just make wise decisions, and then you learn to live in the limitation, like you're in lack, you learn to maneuver certain things. You learn, like when I was, I know I'm rambling, but give me this, it's my show, okay? So I remember I would always dress really, really nice, particularly when I used to live in, I dress nice now, but I would dress really, and people always come, oh, you're just so nice, and this and that. And I would be just very professional when I went to work, and I went to whatever hospital I worked at. I used to work in hospital, I used to work inpatient, we worked in crisis, worked a little bit everywhere. But I was always dressed very nice and very presentable. And so I remember I would go to like Goodwill, and I would go to the fancy, the more upscale areas that were where the Goodwills were on the outskirts. And I would present myself very well, because that's just what I love to do. I love having my hair done, my makeup done, business casual. And you would think I had money because I was walking around with nice clothes and these. And sometimes when you present well is what I'm trying to get to. And when you just dress up, people don't know I got these clothes from Goodwill. Not that it really matters. You can get stuff from Goodwill or wherever, or some fancy smanchy place, but people always kind of looked at me, I feel like, differently, because I appear to have it all together. And for the most part, I've always been quiet and demure. So I'm not like off the chain, but I'm just as human as the next person. So when God says, Samaria, you've always been the responsible one, I was like, oh, I get it. I get it. And so I want to talk to the people who are the responsible one, because you understand where I am going at with this. So this will be very brief. Let's talk about signs that you are the responsible one. You may also want to Google dysfunctional family roles or family roles, and diagrams will pull up on Google, and you will find how within every family system, we are always put in a certain role. You have one that's the scapegoat, you have one that's the enabler, you have one that's the screw up, so that you have different roles, and we're put in these roles without our asking. But this is the family system, and so you can get put in the family role of being the caretaker, the one that figures it out, the counselor, the lost child. And I'll give you some context as to what role you have been put in versus coming to that light of, I don't want to be this person anymore. Doesn't mean I want to be irresponsible, but I don't want to take responsibility for grown people. All right, so let's talk signs and symptoms. The first, and these are in no particular order of importance, it's just what is what it is. So the first one is that people depend upon you too much. They depend upon you too much. You're the one who is going to have the answer. You're the one that's going to figure it out. You're the one that's going to get it done. That's also another sign that you may be an unconventional, another sign that you may be a leader. Absent from, so there's different types of leaders. There's leaders in position, but there's leaders in purpose and leaders in anointing. And so sometimes you can have leaders in position because they just know how to work the system, versus leader and anointing. And sometimes when you're a leader and anointing and leader in position from God, people just naturally see you in a leadership role. And so people tend to depend upon you because you're going to get her done, right? Nothing wrong with that. We're going to talk about how we get imbalanced. And I said this: when they don't know what to do, they will try and lean on the person who they think does know what to do. Okay. And so we're going to talk about how this is as a responsible, you got to know how to be okay with disappointing people. Okay. And my pastor said this, and I quote this before: sometimes people will never find God because they found you. See, well, us responsible people, we had to find We had to find God in different ways. We had to learn that He shall supply all our needs according to His riches and glory. We had to find Him as to be the Father, the provider. We went through life's challenges and we didn't have anyone to call, and we found Him to be that what we needed. Sometimes people will never find God in that capacity or love Him to that level because why? Since they've always had you to depend upon. You cannot be somebody's everything. You cannot be somebody's lowercase God. You have difficulties setting boundaries for fear of retaliation or fear of breaking up of a relationship or friendship. And I told you, and this again, me and God, we had these conversations, and as I feel comfortable, I share. The Lord had showed me there's someone else that was in my life. I took on more of a protector role in their life, and the Lord showed me their face about maybe a couple of weeks ago, and He said, "Samaria, sometimes we have relationships that go past their expiration date for fear." And he was telling me that the reason why I kept this person in my life, even though our lives are different, our personalities are different, we don't see life the same way. I kept this person in my life for a fear of the retaliation. And then I ended up being like Job. The thing that I feared the most came upon me. You should not have a fear of rejection, a fear of, they're going to leave your life. And this person left my life while I exited out their life because I was like, and they tore it all up and rumors and gossip and did the absolute most. But the truth of the matter is, at the core, we're just different people and our lives are different. So you are an enabler. There's a difference between being you can be so good to someone you allow them to stay stuck. There's a difference between what you allow and what you enable. Now, I'm going to use this as an example. If you have someone like a good friend and you know that they are, let's say, hypothetically, they are abusing, and this is just an example, maybe they're abusing, well, okay, let me give you, I'll give you a different example. Let's say, for example, they don't want to work. They're always 3 steps from eviction. But right before they get there, you pay their rent. Right before they get there, you let them move into your house. Right before they get there, you figure it out for them. But on the back end, they're very irresponsible. I'm not judging. I'm just telling you. I know people like that. They're very responsible with their money. They don't want to work. They can't keep a regular job. When they do get a little money, it's like fire in their hands. They can't keep it. Have a whole bunch of credit card bills. So yeah, they may be on the verge of eviction, but it's not because they ain't got the money. It's because they're irresponsible with paying their bills first. So you pay your bills first before you go on vacation. You pay your bills first before you want to buy a new car. You pay your bills first. You have to work. Okay, and I know people like that who just don't believe that work is a thing. But you always been there. Here's the thing, and I will sound harsh, you are enabling them to stay stuck because they realize that they can be super irresponsible, and the responsible one will come and figure it out and they lean on, oh, I don't want to see them. Sometimes people got to stand in their own choices. Oh, that's a hard one for the responsible one because you have care and compassion. But sometimes people got to sit in their own choices so they can figure it out. My grandmama said, listen, Samaria, hard head makes a soft bottom. Sometimes you got to fall on your bottom. Sometimes you got to fall on your bottom so you can figure it out and be an adult. If we hang around the responsible one, their poor choices is your emergency. I didn't say a whole thing. You are the white knight rescuer, and I gave you an example. Every time they got an issue, they're going to call you. You're going to rescue them from their choices. Okay. Sometimes we have people in our lives that we have difficulty with self-care. You can be the type of person. I was just having a conversation with someone so recently. I'm helping this person. I'm just like, well, who you are pouring so much into other people. You don't take care of your own self. And I said this before, and I said, if helping you is hurting me, it is not God. If I was watching this some years ago on social media. I may have been on Facebook. I'm not Facebook, MySpace. So I tell you how long ago it was. Okay, so there was a little video, and it was in some African country, and there was a man, who was crying over a funeral. family members were there. He was crying. He was, I don't know what country he was, Africa he was in. He was, you guys did this. You did this to him. You did this to him. You did. And what he was saying was, you can be so much so on for people that they put you in the grave early. You about to snap, crackle, and pop dealing with people. Child, I'm telling you, you can give and give and give. And people that are entitled, they don't care, they just want you to keep giving. You fear disappointing people. Remember, I said sometimes you got to get to a place in your life where you, and it doesn't mean you're like, I don't care about nobody. Sometimes I've learned, no matter how you say things, when you're not telling people what they want to hear, you are arch enemy number one. You could be like, listen, I'm just here for you, and I feel like I've enabled you, and you just are too dependent upon me. You can do the compliment sandwich and all the techniques that we tell people when we're trying to give them clear instructions. You can say it's helpful and it's not and as kind as you want to. Guess what they're gonna do? Because you're telling them, I call it a curse word called no. When you are not telling people what they want to hear, guess what they're gonna do? They're gonna find a way to manipulate that situation so you are a bad person. Even though they're not gonna, I know someone like that. It's always somebody else's fault. I mean, literally, the state of North Carolina. It was this person. Everybody jealous of them. Everybody ain't got nothing. Don't got my mom. This go be an old school saying, but my mom used to say, "Listen, you don't got a bucket to pee in, or you don't own a pot to pee in, or a bucket to throw it out in." And that's an old school saying. But you own nothing. But everybody's jealous of you. You ain't got nothing nobody want, but everybody jealous of you. I mean, really, those are people that are manipulative. So you're prone to more stress. And if you really look at it, you are stressful for things that you don't have to be stressed out over. You feel isolated and alone. You can be around a lot of people, but a bunch of people depend upon you. You don't have your equal people who are not there because they want something. They're there something because they just like you. How many of us, me included, have found ourselves in a relationship with people only there for what they can get from us? Any other time, we don't. I had somebody, and I'm telling you my business without telling. I had somebody, true story. Now, and I said this because I learned this lesson. There's some lessons I really, if God tells it to me, I learn it. But there's some lessons in life that you learn. You just have to learn the hard way. You got to hit your head, like my grandma said. You got to hit your bottom. But I remember I had someone, like, literally, I did not hear from them. I remember one time I texted someone and I heard from they respond, and it wasn't a text like I wanted. It was like, hey, how's it going? Literally checking in on the person. They wouldn't check on me. I was gone, whatever. They responded to the text 2 months. 2 months later, oh, I was so busy. No, you ain't got no job. How you that busy? Now I had time. Now I had my little two jobs, but I'm not two jobs. I was, for those who don't know, I was working 9 to 5 at the community clinic that I worked at that time. I had my business from 5 to 9, and then all day Saturday I was seeing clients. And so if I text you and I have time in between whatever, just to text you, hello, how you doing? And that person texts me back 2 months later. Now I'm the epitome of busy. I'm busy. Okay. So I say that to say you don't really you're the responsible one, but you don't really hear from them. The dynamic of the relationship is you only need that person only needs you when they need help. After that, they don't need you no more. They won't call you. They don't text. I mean, you're not hanging out until it's like then you get that text message. Oh, what they want. At the end of the day, the only time they're gonna call you until they want something. Any other time, they're too busy. Um, um, oh, so let me I'm diverting because it's not on my nose. You also realize that you start because people will talk again. Oh, I'm here for you. I'm your ride or die. I'm with you, and you realize that no matter how much they talk, they don't have capacity for you. I remember one time I did something for somebody, and it was so I was pouring into them, and then literally the same person next to us, I didn't hear from them, and I was kind of hurt by that. And I remember a minister friend of mine said, Samaria, everyone cannot handle your heavy. that means everyone cannot handle the weight of your assignment. So we get caught up what people say, I'm here for you. We're going to be partners together in life and blah, blah, blah. And if you need anything, and you realize the dynamic of the relationship, no matter how much they talk a good game, they don't have capacity for that. Nobody's going to say that. You have to recognize that. Okay. And a lot of times, if you really are, see, sometimes we can lean on the Holy Spirit, some areas of our life, and not on the other. But if you really sit down and ask God, he will tell you. He will tell you who you don't have to be deceived, but sometimes it takes a little while for us to catch up. You know what I mean? Okay. Um, so you feel isolated alone. We said we're prone to stress. I forgot which one I was on. Are given more responsibility because you can't. So you already have too much on your plate, and you're given more responsibility and more responsibility and more responsibility. You just start being heavy because you get stuff done. It could be a crazy amount of stuff, but you won't get it done. And because you're gonna get it done, they say, okay, well, you can have room. You can have room full of multiple people, but all these people are lazy. But you the one that's gonna get it done. Guess who's gonna put it on? Even though there's more people outweighing you, outnumbering you, they're gonna still give you more responsibility because you can get her done. And that is not necessarily always a bad thing. The Bible says if you are faithful over a few things, he'll elevate you to be ruler over many things. You just have to set balance, right? You have to set balance to know when is this a God thing, when God has when my character and my diligence and my fruit has produced something to elevate me to be able responsible for more things versus I'm connected to manipulation, power, and control, and someone feels because of proximity to them that they can relinquish authority, or they can relinquish their responsibility over to me because I'm gonna get it done. They're gonna just be twiddling their fingers. Some people don't show up because they want to work. Some people show up because they need a photo op. They want to pretend like they want to post on social media because it makes them look good to feel like they're working, but they're not really working. Whew, all right. Sometimes when you're the responsible one, it's hard to find another you, honey. You feel taken advantage of, you because you are. If this resonates with you and you said, man, people be taking advantage of me, and I'm not trying to hit you hard so I can, so I can just be mean. If you feel taken advantage of, it's because you are being taken advantage of. And I want you to come to that realization because you have to make different choices. They're fine. You have to, we can't wait for other people. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself because I'm going to give you some results some what you should do at the end, but you cannot wait for other people to have an epiphany of who you are and let me just fall back. No, they are comfortable. You're the one that's not uncomfortable. You're the one that's stressed out. You're the one that's overwhelmed. You got to make some different choices about who you allow in your life. So we feel misunderstood. You feel like if you don't get it done, it won't happen. So that tells you you may not have the best people around you because iron sharpens iron. But if you feel like if I don't get it done, I mean time has told you that. You can't say Joe Blow goes do this over here. It's not gonna get done, or it's gonna get halfway. I knew someone, and I'm telling you all kinds of examples today. They would talk a good game. They would have had a consistent pattern of being consistent. No matter what they did, I had to still come behind them and fix it. It was more trouble. That's how it's more trouble than it's worth to deal with certain people. Because they're gonna mess up something, they'll either halfway do it or not do it. You're gonna have to come behind it, fix it. If you're dealing with stakeholders or clients or other people, you're gonna have to come behind them, apologize for this person on this side, and it makes it more work than it needs to be because you gotta fix if they even do it at all. So when you're surrounded by people that you truly feel like if you don't get it done, it won't get done, that's a problem. That's not God's will. Eventually you start thinking, you start feeling like I gotta go no contact. And that's usually an extreme when someone's been so manipulative and so degrading and stressed out so much, you just want to leave the country. You want to go to California and pack up and not tell anybody where you at because you're so sick of being drained by these people. Some people have been so responsible they've had to go no contact because of their own mental health. They had these internal conversations with God. They say, I am not going to allow you to cause me to lose my good natural mind dealing with you. Okay. Compassion fatigue, and burnout, which is another form of emotional exhaustion. Burnout, you just can't, you just You get to that point where it's just you're riding on fumes because you don't have refuelers and you don't take care of yourself. You're easily manipulated. So I tell my clients who are the responsible ones all the time, we got to start setting boundaries. When you first start setting boundaries, that guilt feeling is going to come in and say, what you're doing something wrong, because you can feel guilty about something that you're not doing anything wrong. You can feel shame about something you haven't done anything wrong. So guilt, so you're easily manipulated because when you start setting boundaries, you can always expect, and I say this I'm like a broken record, kickback. Oh, you, what do you mean? No, what's wrong with you? It's almost like you setting a boundary. It's like offensive to them, and that's how you know you're dealing with another manipulator. When you say no, how why are you being mean to me? And it's like you can say no again kindly. No, I won't be able to do that. Oh my, like dramatic. Oh my, you mean it to I? Oh God, I'm telling you too much. I remember saying to someone, my setting boundaries is not about you, it's about me and my limitations. But that's your cousin. And don't you know? And what they gonna do? I don't know what they gonna do. They all the way grown. When you are the responsible, they want to, you gotta be you you are responsible for grown people who had two legs, two arms, and 2 feet like you. How is it you gotta figure it out, but they got you that you have had to figure it out. You had to figure life out, and they just can, it gets a bit much. You can see how people get easily manipulated, but very, very stressed out. Your relationship with people, you're in a relationship with people who have a learned helplessness. So you can grow up and believe how you show love is how you give. But we don't always think, okay, I not only how can I give, but who are my people that I can receive. So when you're in a manipulative relationship with the manipulator, people always think, what can you do for me? But when you're a giver and you want to be in a relationship with other givers who are saying, how can I help you? Two givers and givers make really healthy relationships. They do. However, unfortunately, givers always attract takers. As a matter of fact, you attract takers long before you attract givers because takers are looking for you. Okay, you attract codependent or narcissistic people along the lines of what I just said. It is never a coincidence that you run into a narcissist. It is never a coincidence that you run into a narcissist. It is intentional. That's why I tell you monitoring spirits are real and they are looking for you. That's why you don't share your business on social media. If you're someone who has a public platform, you have to use discernment about who you allow in your life because they are shape shifting and they're looking at you on the intranet and they're going to be, that's why you really have to use discernment about who you have to use discernment because people, it's just not like it was in the 70s and 80s. People have social media and look at you on their phone, they're profiling you and they're trying to figure, okay, this person loved God. Oh, they love the scriptures. Oh, nowadays people just start putting all their business on social media. The kind of man they want, what kind of woman they want, and how they want to build, and how they want to. When is this person coming? And all you're doing is attracting predatory people. This is why, if you look at my timeline, I do talk about some things personal, as my purpose to give you my testimony, but I'm still a very private person. So if you look on any of my social media, you don't see me hanging out with friends. You don't know where I'm going. If I fly out of the country, if I go to the beach, nobody knows that until I get. So every now and again, years ago, I would post when I got back. I only really post on social media things related to my business and my books, so things that I'm trying to promote. That's it. That is it. But when I go hang out with a friend, we go out to lunch, I'm not like, oh, hang out with my friend today at the Olive Garden. It was really nice. I'm engaging in social media, but also using a little bit of discretion or some discretion. And even when I'm telling my testimony about things I've experienced, the Bible does say we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. I'm not going on and on. I mean, I'm not necessarily, well, maybe today I am, but I'm not necessarily doing that because I'm trying to be relational on social media. I want to come from the vein of someone who's experienced certain things, not just book knowledge, but life knowledge. Okay. But when I meet new people in my life, I'm still vetting them. I'm still hearing from the Holy Spirit concerning them because I just learned my lesson the hard way. You continue to deal with people, watch it, that you don't trust, and you know they're taking advantage of you. You know these people ain't right, but you continue to deal with them. Okay, and sometimes it's for fear. Well, watch it in number 20. There's more, but we're gonna end on there and I'm going to talk about how do we deal with this. You lost yourself or have difficulty identifying who you are because you spent most of your life taking care of grown people or taking responsibility for people. You can get to the point where you don't know who you are. And I've had client conversation like this, excuse me, with clients. You don't know who you are. You don't know what you like. You don't know basic things about yourself, or you feel like you lost yourself because you spent so much time taking care of other people that you never invested in you to figure out who you are and what you want. The wonderful thing is that regardless of what age you are, you can always start again. You get to the place where you're like, man, I was always a aunt to this person. I was always a caretaker to this person. And you get to that place and you're like, well, who am I now? You can go through a journey of self-discovery at 40. You can go through a journey of self-discovery at 50. You can go through it. So it doesn't in 60 and above, like you can get to a place where I don't want to do this anymore. This ain't working for me. Who am I now after from what others wanted me to be? Okay. Whew. All right. So let's talk about how we do it. We start recognizing that there is a problem. We don't wait for someone else to say, I've been really mishandling you. And I've been, you have to recognize there's a problem. Because remember, I said they don't see a problem. They're fine. They can spend the rest of that people that can spend the rest of their life instead of manipulation. They're fine. It's not working for you. And we have to start by identifying there is a problem. And what are the factors in the problem? How have I shown up in my life with people or to people that it's no longer going to work for me? It more than likely wasn't working ever or before, but now it's gotten to the point where it's too much. We're going to start the process of selling for those who are setting boundaries. No is not a dirty word. And when you say no, it can be a complete sentence. You don't have to say no because I did this and that and try to explain yourself. No. Remember, be ready for the kickback. Be ready for the manipulative games. You don't have to go back and forth. I'm this and I'm this and no. And you said this, and but now you now you're bougie. Didn't better. They'll try it. What's wrong with you now? What's going? I mean, I don't want. Just say no. Now, if you choose to say, "Hey, this is no longer working for me," that is your prerogative. But no is a complete sentence. And remember, when you start setting boundaries, guilt will come, but guilt is a bully. Fear will come. Fear is a bully. It does not dictate the fact that you said no. You stand flat footed in your no. And if there's consequences behind, they were never really for you in the first place. If you say no and they run off and they do the most and they're manipulative and they keep, now you know where their heart posture is. Be okay with moving on. It's okay for those who lead you to delegate authority, watches to appropriate people, not the people in your face. I can't. I want you to let me get next to you. You have to delegate authority to people who have capacity. That's how you pray and ask God who to delegate authority to. Because, like I said, you can have people that talk a good game and they cannot deliver, right? Okay. Practice saying no is like a muscle. When you first start saying, it's almost like you feel like you're changing your nature. And so sometimes it's like you may not be do a 360 complete opposite right away, but you start practicing it and you're encouraging yourself. Your no muscle gets stronger and it gets stronger and it gets stronger. Stop allowing yourself to be manipulated. Easier said than done because we care. But don't allow yourself. Tears is a form of manipulation. But you said false prophetic, but the Lord said we're supposed to be together and I'm supposed to help you, oh God. Men can be manipulative, but men, guess what? Women can be just as manipulative too. Men use a different form of manipulation, but women use their emotions to manipulate. Now you cry, but no. Don't fall for the trap. Stop. Okay, so we said stop allowing yourself. Find ways to practice self-care. You may not know who you are, but then you start doing things for you to figure out what you like and what you don't like. I realized for so many years I didn't take a vacation. I always was giving people I was doing the most. You know what I realized about myself? I've been on this journey of self-discovery since I turned like 40. I'll be 43. Wow. When y'all watch this, it'll be past October. On October 13th, I'll be 43 years old. And I started realizing things about me that I love. Like I love museums. I didn't know that about me. I want to travel and go to a few museums. I've been traveling a little bit. I have gone, but I want to go to some like I want to go to. Hopefully, I'll have gone. Have gone by the time y'all listen. I want to go to the African American History Museum in Washington D.C. I want to go to some of the museums. I love museums. I love history. I love going to the beach. I haven't traveled as much to different beaches that I would like to. That's one of my bucket list. I love so many things about myself. I didn't know, like I do. I'm really very financially responsible. I didn't know that about myself until I stopped sewing into other people. I've learned so many things, and I'm still on this journey of self discovery. Like after from being with this person needed this and showing up this like, who are you really? I am still a helper, but I've learned to set boundaries. I learned it's okay to take care of me. I used to get so bad. I would feel when I went to. I remember one time. Well, this is my first kind of self discovery. I just turned 40. Now I'm going to the outlet. Okay, and I would give myself a couple $1,000 because I was going to go to the Coach store and buy whatever I wanted. Um, I remember. Now y'all know this ain't the LV store. This ain't Gucci. I remember for the first time saying, "I'm going to celebrate me." I saved up my money. I went to this really nice 5-star hotel. I have a couple $1,000 saved up in my bank account, and I was going to go to the outlet. And mind you, the outlet is discount stuff, and I was going to buy myself whatever I wanted. I did that, but here's what I'm getting at. Um, I realized I had to be my own best friend. I remember feeling guilty when I got to that 5-star hotel. I was by myself. I could have went with people just during the pandemic, so I wasn't, and there was nobody for me to sew into. I wasn't buying anything for somebody else. I wasn't saying who want this. I remember, going out to eat and I just was hanging out with me. And I remember just thinking, and I remember this guilt feeling like I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to do this. I went bought myself shopping. I went to the outlet, and I remember picking out the outlet. I think I got like a couple bags. I mean, I did the most that year because it was my 40th birthday, and I was going to celebrate me, and I knew nobody around me was going to be able to celebrate me like me. They didn't have. I'm not wealthy. Like I said, we talk about the outlet. Okay, so this ain't. We're not going to St. Bart's. Okay, eventually we will. But I remember just like staying in this nice hotel, looking around, like, and the feeling of like, I remember I got to it was nice. I got into this the bed, and it was like the sheets were so amazing. I was like, I think I'm supposed to do this more. I think I like this. So that feeling of, sorry y'all, something was texting me. The feeling of I'm supposed to do this, but why do I feel so guilty? I spent all of my life. That's a procrastinator. Mm. I had spent all of my life feeling like I had to take care of somebody else, figure it out for somebody else, someone to someone else. I remember I would if I bought myself something nice, or Holly did it, I would hide it. And me staying in a little 5-star restaurant, going out to these nice restaurants, just taking myself out, being my own best friend, going to an outlet and buying Coach, which is not like, a Coach is wonderful, don't get me wrong, but it ain't like, it's to somebody that's nothing. But to me, who was never used to taking care of herself like that, it's been a journey. So I said that you got to find ways to take care of yourself, and that guilt feeling will eventually go away. It will eventually go away. Now, I do believe being financially responsible. When you are not responsible for people who are grown who can take care of themselves, you are so much able to hold on to some money. I could tell you the money I lost. This is my testimony, y'all. The thousands of dollars I lost giving to people who just it can be hard being a responsible one, but forgive yourself. Find ways to practice self-care. And here's the thing: don't tell anybody. Now, if you're in a relationship with husband, wife, even stuff like that, you got to do the most. Don't be that responsible. But I didn't tell nobody. I'm putting aside this money because I'm ball out work for me. I'm gonna go. I just stopped telling people stuff because now I think, oh, you got it. Then they're gonna give you a guilt trip. Oh, you're going to file and how they you didn't even invite me. You should. I just stopped telling people stuff. So I came back feeling refreshed. I had been to the beach. I had been to the spa. I've been to the pool. I had been to the outlet. I came back with bag 3 or 4. I just did the most. I came back with bags full of stuff, you know, and it wasn't nothing but the outlet. But to me, it was everything because that was assigned to me. I didn't post it on social media. I didn't want to get no text messages. Why you ain't invite me? Because you wasn't invited. I ain't gonna pay for you. Okay. Um, so find ways to practice self-care and figure out what you want. And you will discover there's some things you'll try. Like, I don't like that. I don't want to do that no more. You know, start discovering you. The plate theory. My old coworker, the director I used to work with, Dr. Sharon, she did we she I haven't talked to her in years, but she told us about the plate theory. Sometimes you can put so much on your plate, your plate starts to buckle. And it's about stress. And she's told us sometimes you gotta know how to take stuff off your plate. So look at your plate, which was on your responsibility. Are there things that you can give? So this does not belong to me. I'm gonna give you back to this. This don't belong to me. You're gonna figure that one out. I don't care. This don't belong to me. This does not belong to me. So God will give you grace for what you are responsible for, not what you're not. You need accountability partners, and it's difficult when you are the giver, um, when you are used to these types of relationships. But God will send those people in your life. Hear from Him because He's going to show you the iron sharpens iron people. You want to look for your equal, and you can't say, "Are you my equal?" Because remember, the more successful you become, people will show up in your life, and they are trying to impress you. They probably already monitor you on social media, so they're going to follow a script because they're trying to get in good graces with you. You have to look for fruit. You have to be discerning. You have to be able to say no. You have to look at not necessarily their name, but how they show up to other people. You have to kind of observe people from a distance, basically. You have to be an inspector of their fruit. Don't ever bark on relationships based on what someone says, particularly when you're well known, or maybe not well known, you're just successful. People observe you so much from a distance, and they will shapeshift to be what you want them to be. But there are people who are your equal who will want you just for you. And that's a different conversation. I recently met with someone, great woman of God, similar to me, had her own private practice, and I could tell the difference having a conversation with her who was hanging out with me, and I was hanging out with her just because we wanted to have godly connection. Who can truly, I didn't feel like she wasn't there trying to impress me because she knew that she thought I got money and I wasn't there to impress her. But it was a whole different conversation where someone can handle your heavy and someone is your equal and they don't want something for you. Of course, pray. God will exchange your spirit of heaviness for His grace. Begin to worship God. Spend time alone with Him, because when you spend time alone with God, your strength comes there. God told me recently, Samaria, strength is not found in the crowd, but it's found at my feet. Once you start having an intimate time with God, which is why this is really important, He will begin to show you and reveal to you the truth of the matter so you don't have to be deceived. A lot of times we're deceived because we don't use discernment, or we're so busy trying to take care of other people, we miss our relationship with God. Y'all, I got that. That will do that one without crying. Anyhow, of course, y'all know who I am, Dr. Samaria Cobra. You can go to my website at www.drsamariacobra.com. My t-shirts, my books, my vlogs, request speaking engagements, all that's there. If you want to go to my training website, go to www.trainingchristianleaders.com, or you can just go to that main link and it'll get you there. And if you're looking for therapy, which I do encourage you to do, if you're in the state of North Carolina, or you can get to the state of North Carolina, schedule at www.kingdomcreativecounseling.com. I do not respond to DMs and things of that nature over social media. It's www.kingdomcreativecounseling.com, one word. And if you can't get to the state of North Carolina and you want to find a therapist, go to psychologytoday.com. This is not sponsored by them, but they will help you to find a therapist in your local area. God bless you. We'll be back in the day and the time of the banger, and Merry Christmas, y'all. Bye.